Motivates. I am your life coach. I just wanted to come on for a little bit before I headed in for the night. And I wanted to say this, okay? If you are not in a good space, how can you give advice to anybody else? You know, if you're in pieces, how can you tell somebody else how to be whole? It's one of the things that I think is absolutely ridiculous that a lot of people they love to give you advice on how to fix your life, on what to do, and in their own life in real time, they are not doing what they need to do. It's something that I think is very hypocritical. It's something very judgmental. People will look at you and judge you and dissect you. They'll take you apart and tell you all the things that you need to fix about yourself, but they are not applying those same things in their life. It's one of those do as I say and not as I do. And that's a very toxic way to be because if we don't think about the net that we're casting, what we're trying to put out in the atmosphere, we can get so caught up in thinking that we have to make a response to other people, or we feel like we have to explain ourselves or to make people accept us and receive us because that's not how we want to be received. And that's none of our business. And it's not something mean or negative, it's the truth. We have to stop worrying about other people's opinions and what they like and what they agree with and what they don't agree with. The most important thing is what are you doing? What are you doing to be your best self? And I say this all the time. It's important for us to think about what we have going on and how we're trying to be a better woman, how you're trying to be a better man, and then do that. But we have to stop trying to look at other people and judging other people for what they're doing. And yeah, it may be something that we don't like, it may be something we don't agree with, but it's still not our life. If we are broken, how are we going to help another person? How can we even help ourselves? And one of the things that I definitely had to do in my life was to stop looking to the left or the right or to the side or behind me and focus on what I have right in front of me, who I am today with the knowledge that I have, the tools that I have, and the love that I have for myself. And I say that to everybody else. I know that every single person has things, situations, people that did you wrong, stabbed you in the back, abandoned you, did all kinds of things, even on this social media, on this red app, or any social media. People can say things, but when people are operating on a very low vibration, if somebody is operating with you on a very negative space or an unhealed space, all they can do is give you from where they're pouring. Hey, real odds and evens, how are you doing? Greetings to you. Happy Sunday to you and everybody else. How was everybody's weekend? That's one of the things that I always try to learn these days, to not take things personal. And I know that that's easier said than done because when somebody says something to you, you absolutely are going to first try to apply it to yourself. But when a person is broken like that or negative, they're angry, or whatever, someone who has some mental health, mental illness issues, we cannot fix another person. We cannot make other people do right. But what we can do is work on ourselves, be our best self. And one of the best things that I ever did for myself in my life is learn to not take everything that people are saying to me as a personal attack. The majority of things that people say or do to us has absolutely nothing to do with us. Not saying some things, yeah, maybe a few things have to do with us, but the majority of things that people do to us has nothing to do with us. It has to do with themselves. If a person is in a very low space, mentally, emotionally, physically, financially, or they have a lot of issues from the past, traumas, and etc. That is how people show up with who they are, not for what they know, because a person could have a lot of head knowledge, but if they do not take what they know and apply it in real life, it's like you can know all the principles on how to be nice and how to be kind. You could read about it in books, but you could have so much people around you that you can apply that to. But until a person is ready to apply that love, apply that knowledge, apply that support to another person, they are going to continue to be broken. Hey James, how are you? Welcome. I'm doing amazing. Thank you so much. I hope you are as well. And that's what I wanted to say, everybody, don't worry about other people and focus on you. This is the season. I have said 2025 is the year of healing, healing your mind, healing your heart, and making new objectives for yourself, letting yourself be your best self, the best self that you can be. Do you think about those things? Am I better today than I was yesterday? Am I putting in all the work I need to into me so that I can be my best self? Okay. And that's why I did this topic, because if you are not in a good space, how can you help someone else? It's one of those things, it's impossible. First, you have to be good on your own. You have to put on your own oxygen mask. I've said that so many times. It's a repetition, but I think it's important for us to always remind ourselves of that. You got to take care of home first, home base. Take care of your mental health. Take care of your physical health. Take care of your financial health. Take care of your spiritual health. Take care of you first so that you can be the best person that you can be. And I want to say to anybody who is going through something, I'm not a doctor. I'm just a life coach that has had lots of different experiences, and I share my experiences freely in hopes that it will help somebody, because a lot of people don't. Okay. And mental health is so important. If you're not good in your mind, you're not going to be good in any other aspect of your life. So I want to say this to anybody who needs to hear it. If you're not okay, if you're having a mental health disruption, it's okay to not be okay. What is worse than that is pretending. It's lying to yourself and lying to other people. Like, oh yeah, I'm good. And you'll walk around with this fake smile, this plastic smile, putting on a facade, and you're literally miserable. You're sad, sometimes depressed, angry, yeah, lots of things going on with you. So that's why I talk about all the time. It's so important to be your own best friend. So important to be your own best friend. And nobody can friend you like you can friend yourself. And that's experience until you go through something where somebody backstabs you or doesn't appreciate you or treats or slights you, abandons you, until you go through some things, you really and truly can't comprehend how important it is to be your own friend. Because if everybody leaves you, remember you always have yourself. And if you are in a really dark space, I will tell you that is when you find out who your real people are. You always find out who rocks with you. You find out who cares for you. You find out who supports you. You find out all of those things just by the actions of other people, okay? But that's why I always say to everybody, make sure that you take care of yourself. To all of you mothers and fathers, aunties, uncles, grandparents, brothers, sisters, cousins, anybody who, you deal with other people on a regular basis, we will pour so much into other people, but we're not pouring into ourselves the way that we actually need to, right? What's going on, realists? Welcome in. Happy Sunday. Real odds and evens. You have to be your own best friend, as you can listen to all others' issues and problems, being there for them. If you mention one tiny issue, they go insane or block out. Yeah. Yep. Before anything, right, realists? And I learned this from personal experience, because I think about, maybe this would be about 9 years ago. Oh, I was everything. Oh, yeah, you need something? I volunteered myself. I put, I'm over here, I'm over there, I'm doing all these things for so many people. But it got to a point where I could not do it anymore, either because I couldn't afford it or I was going through a lot of things, during that time. Lots of grief and lots of pain, lots of things was going on in my life 9 years ago. And I knew for sure during this time that because I had given and because I had poured into so many people, I was certain when my time came, I was going to have so much support, so much people backing me, high fiving me, going to be offering their services to me. And when you look around and you don't have that, it's an eye opener. And I don't want you all to be like me. Don't be the person that's just always giving out, pouring out. You also have to be the person that you can be nice, but that kindness has limits and you have to set boundaries on that kindness. It's not just when other people want you, but it's when you make a choice. Okay, today I'm going to make this choice. Okay? Today I'm going to make a choice. I'm going to give you 30 minutes, an hour, but you are the ones that have to set those limits, okay? You are the one that has to set the limits. And I think that that was a major difference in my life, learning that I was the one that had to make a choice. I was the one that had to choose me. I was the one that had to set those boundaries. And one thing about when you go through some situations and you get that abandonment, that disrespect, that all those things that hurt so very much, you learn to make different moves the next time. And that's what I always share over here on my channel. I don't want you all to make the same choices that I made. I can say there was a time where I was very gullible. I just trusted very easily. I think it was just one of those things, like, you just give and give and give, and then when you get to that point where you, like, literally get burned out and you cannot give to anybody, because now it's a time for your self-preservation. Now it's time for you to get back into you and take care of home. And it's crazy because when you get that way, people will have whole attitudes because you cannot give like you used to, maybe because you don't may not even want to anymore, or your life may shift and you just are not available like you used to be, or whatever the case may be. You're an adult, you're grown, and you don't have to explain why you make shifts. But for the sake of this conversation, I will share why I made a shift in my life. I made a shift in my life because I've said it many times. I come from a very big family, and I got the older parents that some people will be like have grandparents, but I had the parents that were grandparents' age when they had me. And that taught me a lot of things because I saw my parents give to so many people, do so many things for other people. And when it was their turn, when they slowed down, when they were going through some issues, I didn't see it reciprocated. And anybody who grew up in the generation where children were seen and not heard, you saw a lot, but you couldn't say a lot. So I saw some things and I made some mental notes, saying things like, oh, that will never be me. And then here I was, years later, and it happened to me. So I just wanted to say that to all the Motivators family, that when things happen to you, you can do two things. You can learn from it and make a different choices and decisions the next time, or you can be gullible, you can be a complainer, you can be a people pleaser and continue to get used. It's our choice. We are the ones that have to make a choice on how we live our day-to-day life. And if we're not in a good space, if we're broken, like I was talking about for the title of today's podcast and conversation. If you are broken, if you are going through something, when are you going to admit that to yourself? When are you going to let yourself heal and forgive? If you walk around with a plastic smile, you could fake it all you want to. Trust me, I know, because I did that for a very long time. Oh, yeah, I'm good. I'm okay. Yeah, I'm fine. And you're hollow, angry, resentful, going through a lot of things. So that's why I said you cannot be any good to anybody until you fix your brokenness, until you fix what you need to fix so you can be your best self. And I felt like this was a message that somebody needed to hear, going into a new week. Every day, and especially every week, we go through different things because we deal with all sorts of people, whether it's your coworkers, it's relatives, it's your true family of love and support. But all of it, any people that you deal with, they are going to be pulling on your energy. They're going to be pulling on your time. And you have to know when enough is enough. You have to know when you're doing the most. You have to know when you need a break. You need to know when it's time to let go of people. And I say this because a lot of times we'll be so busy doing everything, or we'll rationalize in our own mind and tell ourselves, oh, yeah, I have to do this. Yeah, you talk yourself into things. No, you don't have to do things. You choose to do it. And then at the same time, you're doing things, but you don't want to do it. You're complaining about it, and you're making other people become upset because guess what brokenness does? Brokenness makes more people broken. Do you want to be responsible for making another generation, your children, your siblings, and other people? Brokenness does more than just affect you. When you're broken, you make everybody else around you in pieces. When I thought about that thing, I said to myself, I said, I don't want to be responsible for making anybody upset or angry or whatever anymore. So I went silent. And I say that to everybody. I recommend it to everybody. If you are going through some things where you're trying to achieve some personal growth, you know you need to work on yourself, your communication skills, some healing, working on your finances, your health, go silent for a while. Take care of yourself. See, if you don't fix the things that is making you hurt and sad and unhappy, and you just are keep complaining about it, other people will pull away from you, not want to deal with you anymore. And a lot of people will think, oh, they're just not nice or they're not. No, people get tired of the anger issues. People get tired of the complaining, spirit. And that's one thing. If I'm going to be transparent about it, I'm going to be all the way transparent. There was a long period of time where I was that angry woman, angry at the entire world for there were some issues that some people had given to me, but the majority of it was mine, not taking ownership, not taking accountability, not being mature, not communicating properly. So we will make our own lives miserable. We will make our own lives very troublesome and all of that when it doesn't have to be that way. We can say, you know what? It starts with today. It starts with me. I'm going to be a positive person. I'm going to do the right thing. I'm going to show love. And when I can do something, I will. And when I won't, guess what? Then it's no. No is a complete sentence, okay? No is a complete sentence, and that's something that a lot of people don't comprehend it because maybe they're not hearing no enough from us. They're not hearing no enough. So don't be ashamed. Don't be scared to say no when you need to. That was a very big issue for me. I hated um I hated confronting issues. I rather, let it slide, or like I know that irritated me or I know I didn't like it, but I would just let things pile up until I would have a meltdown or I would just go rogue on somebody, and that's not good. So, if you have an issue with somebody, it's important. I want to speak to all of my motivators. If you have an issue with somebody, what we do as mature women, as mature men, take them to the side. And when you're calm, when you've thought about it, because that's what you do. You think about what you want to say. You can't control what they're going to say, but it's you being mature enough to say, hey, I don't know if you're aware of it, but when you say X, Y, and Z, this is how it makes me feel. That's how you have a conversation as a mature adult. It's not pointing the fingers, it's not screaming, it's not belittling anybody. You're just focusing on your feelings, okay? So that's important to say. Sometimes people are not aware when they offend you or when they hurt you, but it's important for you to speak that out loud and not let people get under your skin. We're responsible for being good communicators. We're responsible for saying the things that we need to say and for protecting ourselves. Okay. James says, don't spread yourself so thin to others that you don't have time for yourself. Yeah. And that happens a lot, doesn't it? I know that, when you have so much on your plate, and I know many of my motivators family have a very full plate. You have your family, you have your job, and you have the other things that's in your life. So it's hard to find room on that plate for yourself, but you have to make yourself a priority, because if you don't, you're going to wind up sick. And in more ways, there's a lot of ways you can be sick. You can be sick spiritually, you can be sick physically, you can be sick mentally, but it's all a sickness, and it all drains you. It all stops you from being your best self. And it's more brokenness, and that brokenness is terrible when you're broken in a way that you're not able to give your best self to your kids, or to your um your romantic partner, or you're not able to give what you need to siblings or your friends. But it's important at the end of the day to think that whatever I have going on, give yourself that permission. And most of us, don't do that. You'll be so giving, so supportive of everybody, but not supportive of yourself. And that's why I always say that it's important, if you are broken, to let yourself, admit that I'm broken right now. I'm tore down. I'm sad. I'm whatever the case may be. I'm depressed. And then get to the bottom of it, and put yourself back together piece by piece. It may take some time. For me, it took almost 9 years for me to finally feel like myself again. The last time I felt like myself was probably 2015. It's taken all this time, almost 10 years, for me to feel like myself again. But just like it took a lot of years for all of the things that has mount up inside of us that leads to us being broken. It's going to take some time. So that means being patient with ourselves, okay? Being patient with yourself. Not trying to rush it, not feel getting frustrated with yourself. Just how you apply patience and compassion and understanding to the ones that you love. We love ourselves. So we have to apply that patience to ourselves and say, okay, what do I need to self protect myself? Is it getting some rest? Is it, uh, avoiding certain people? Because let me tell you, if you're around toxic people when you're going through a time of sadness or brokenness or hurt, it will just drag you deeper down into a hole. And I don't know about any of you. If any of you have ever been down a rabbit hole, you know what that means. I have been down a rabbit hole where it's nothing but darkness and wild thoughts and just tears and sadness, and you just feel like you just are getting kicked and slapped and punched, and it's nothing positive that happens in that rabbit hole, but sadness and pain. But when it finally lifts, when you make a choice to shift, and that's what happened for me. I had to make a choice to shift my life, and making a decision to say, I don't want to be angry anymore. I don't want to stay broken. And I also don't want to make the people that I love broken as well. Because you may not think about it, but maybe you snapping off, or giving people the silent treatment, or, not showing up for others because you are just in a very dark space, it's not good. So I want to encourage anybody who needs to. I say this almost every podcast and live stream, is seek help from a professional. There's nothing wrong with it. If you're going through something and you're having some issues, whether it is present or whether it's past, but if something is troubling you, that's why they're there. That's why therapists are there. And, just having somebody, a third party that doesn't know you from the next person walking down the street, just being able to open up and to share the some of the things that you are going through, it's very healing to your mind, your body, and your spirit. So I will always recommend that. And also remember to be patient with yourself. And this is something that a lot of people leave out, and that is getting some support. Realist says, good point. James says, it sure does. Um, Realist says, it's possible to get so caught up being a good person to everyone that we drain ourselves. Oh, it's way more than possible, realist. I think it happens every day. It happens more than people even want to think about. That there's so many good people, and I was in that space for a long time. Being a good person, being a supportive person, showing up for everybody, but is that being reciprocated? Most of the time, no. But ultimately, that is also up to us too. We know the people who are only in our lives to use us. You know those toxic people that they only call you when they want something, but they never have called or texted or showed up or even giving you back spiritually, to anything. They're not pouring anything into you. So the part about being transparent is also saying, I'm accountable because I know they're toxic. I know they're a user. I know they're a taker. I know that there's nothing beneficial coming from this person, but I choose to keep them in my life. Hmm. That's when we need to do some evaluations and asking ourselves, why do I allow myself to keep this toxic relationship? Why do I think that this is all I can do? Because ultimately, that's what it is. We keep toxic people around because it's something we're used to. We get used to the toxicity. We get used to the poor treatment. We get used to, the manipulation. You get used to all of it. But that doesn't mean it's okay. It doesn't mean that you have to. Just because somebody does something does not make it acceptable. Wrong is wrong, mistreatment is mistreatment, abuse is abuse, disrespect is disrespect. Know your worth, okay? So that's honestly what I came on to say to everybody this evening. If you're broken, if you're sad, if you're in pieces, if you're going through something, give yourself that self compassion and, speak out loud. I need to take a break from others so that I can preserve myself, my mental sanity, my physical. You got to take care of yourself and do the things that you need to. Always, I will always push, make sure you check with your doctor before you do anything, and do what's best for you. I just share some tips and some tools, but all I'm always going to recommend, take good care of yourself. Make sure you're getting your rest. Make sure you're pouring into yourself, because if you don't, if you are only extending, if you're only giving, and people are always just taking and nobody is you're not getting back, you're not being supported, you're not being encouraged, you're not even being, asked how you are. That's what makes you feel some type of way. And we don't deserve that. None of us deserves to feel like we're nothing. I always want to put that out there. That's what this channel is all about, motivation inspiration, mindset shifting, because if you are around broken people don't know how to heal and to fix. They only know how to make more disruption, more toxicity. They know how to just, you know, make storms, make problems, right? And that's not what we need in our life. When we know better, what do? We do better, okay? So I want all of you to go out there this week and apply this advice. If there's something broken in your life, broken communication, work on your communication skills. Don't make any assumptions. Don't think that, oh, they know this about me. Oh, we've been in a relationship for a long time. Or this person has to know. No, just because a person has been around you or has known you for a long period of time doesn't mean they know what makes you tick. It doesn't mean they know what upsets you or angers you unless you communicate that. That's what we do, Motivators family. We communicate effectively. We don't make assumptions, okay? We don't make assumptions, even though many people do. We don't do that. We tell people what we accept, what we tell people what we won't accept. We set those healthy boundaries. We protect our mental health. We protect our spiritual health. We take care of ourselves in the best way possible so that we can keep going and we can keep enduring. And not only that, so that we could be happy, so we can have peace, because in that brokenness and going through things, you will lose your peace, you'll lose your joy, and none of us deserves that. So whatever it is that you need to do to get back on that solid ground, on that balanced footing into being your best self and having peace and love, then do those things, you know. And I'm always going to put out there, make sure you tap in spiritually and do what you need to do, because that's a major part of, you know, fixing and healing. If you are not okay, you need some support, okay? Everybody needs support. Yes, even if we lose it, we can get it back. Yes, you can always get it back. So thank you guys for tuning in, tapping in to today's podcast and conversation. I always hope that something that I say will affect somebody in their head, in their heart, in their spirit, and stir them to action. Get you to think about some things. I want you all to be your best, your happiest, your most at peace self, because you deserve it, okay? Yes, nothing is more relevant than our peace of mind. Yes. Peace of mind is so vital. Everybody have an amazing, amazing week ahead. Be your best. Love yourself. Communicate effectively. Set those boundaries. Love yourself. Okay. And I'll tap back in sometime during the week. Maybe I'll do in person, or I may just do a podcast like right now. If you're watching in the replay, thank you so much, replay family, for your support. Leave me a comment in the comment section below. And to all my mods, thank you so much for supporting me and this channel. Shout out to my channel members as well. Always make sure you check out my mods in blue, because they support me and I support them as well. Thank you so much, everybody. You know what we say over here. Just know it, just breathe it, and be it, and live your best life. I'm Marlene Motivates, and I am your life coach. I will see you all on the next one.